Do you love Wolf Tribal? Do you love Elf Tribal? Why not both? It's Voja, Jaws of the Conclave. It's the commander everybody's talking about from at Karlov Manor. This is a very sweet, very surprisingly powerful deck. I'm going to show you a build that's completely 100% legal in paper, and we're going to play it on Arena. Let's go. Welcome to the Attic Mana Dad here. This is a channel where we play what is good in Magic, mostly on Arena, and what is good today, Voja, Jaws of the Conclave, or do you say Voja or Voja? I think people were saying Voja on the command zone, and I feel like that's like my third preferred pronunciation. I want to say Voja, or probably if it's like elf, it's an elf wolf, it's like Finnish, Voja. Anyway, it's a sweet commander. This deck is 100% EDH legal, so if you just want some ideas for your paper commander deck, I got you covered here. I'm going to go through what I've picked, then you're going to see it in action on the Brawl queue on Arena. So let's talk about the commander, first of all. Voja, Jaws of the Conclave, 5/5, Vigilance, Trample, Ward 3. Ward 3, very nice, very underrated. Because it does have an attack trigger. When it attacks, put X +1/+1 counters on each creature you control, where X is the number of elves you control. And then you draw a card for each wolf you control. So, let's see. We've got 35 elves and 5 wolves, 5 werewolves in the deck. But some of we also have some cards with Changeling that are both, if I can find them, like, you know, Realm Walker. So that Voja is going to have friends, going to have buddies. This is the classic thing. Voja usually comes with a Tolsimir. We got 2 Tolsimirs in here, Tolsimir Friend to Wolves and Tolsimir Midnight's Light. I'd say if you're building this to be the absolute like best Voja deck that you can, maybe you don't even put these Tolsimirs in. These bring wolf buddies here. Because they compete at 5 mana. At 5 mana, you want to be casting your commander. You don't want to be casting your commander and the buddy who's making... These both make a Voja. This makes a 3/3 green and white wolf creature token. Voja, friend to the elves. This makes a 5/5 green and white wolf creature token. Voja, Fenstalker. So they're not going to legend rule each other. You can have multiple Vojas on the battlefield. Let's go into the deck. We'll just go in CMC order. If you just want to skip to the gameplay, I'll put a chapter break. Deck list, as always, will be in the description. So let's go here. Just a couple pieces of removal. Swords to Plowshares, Lightning Bolt. Just 2 of the classics in the colors that we've got. We don't have Beast Within on Arena, but you could definitely put Beast Within in here. I don't believe we have it. Maybe we do have it, but I don't think so. Fearless Pup. I just wanted to get 1 cheap wolf in here. Mostly we're going to have elves that can tap for mana. Sentinel, Stalwart, Elvish Mystic, Jasper Sentinel, Llanowar Elves. Reese the Redeemed can make more elves, so we can go wide with that. And it can, for each creature token you control, create a token that's a copy of that creature. And as we saw, we're making some Voja tokens, although they're legendary, so I guess that would legend rule. So maybe make copies of your other tokens. Llanowar Loam Speaker, this little A means it has been modified for alchemy. There's unfortunately no way around that on here, but the version that we're playing makes the 3/3 elemental land. I think the paper version is maybe just a 2/2. Wonder if I can... no, I can't see the paper version. Dwynen's Elite, elf that brings a friend. Warmaster, elf that brings lots of friends, and we can Anthem as a backup here. Gala Greeters is going to ramp us as an elf. Guardian Gladewalker, elf and wolf. Heroic Intervention, we got to protect Voja. Really only board wipes. So I guess if the board wipe is a destroy all creatures, Heroic Intervention is going to help us protect. Because the main thing is we need to be able to attack to get this value. A 5 mana 5/5, even Vigilance, Trample, Ward 3 is not great if it's just getting removed. So an opponent knows it's coming, right? They can see it in the command zone. So having some ways to protect it, having some ways to give it haste is really key in this deck. We've got Incubation Druid, which is a mana dork. Masked Vandal, which can be some enchantment and artifact removal. Packsong Pup, it's just a cute little pup. Paradise Druid, ramp. Servant of the Conduit, ramp. Wildborn Preserver. We do have some some +1/+1 counter synergies in here. So this is an elf with reach with +1/+1 counters. A clan collar. Elves you control get +1/+1, which is nice. Unfortunately, the second ability not relevant in Commander. The only one I'm fun of. Here's another Elf Anthem person, Elf Anthem Lord, Leaf Crowned Visionary. We got the Werewolf Pack Leader. Not a wolf, but we do have stuff that gives bonuses to wolves and werewolves. The magic is a little weird. Werewolves are not wolves, but a lot of the things that affect wolves also affect werewolves. And so this could be nice. Similar with Kessick Naturalist. It doesn't transform into a wolf or anything, unfortunately, but this can ramp us, and it can benefit from some things. Swiftfoot Boots, great to have to equip to Voja. When it comes down to Fairy's Protection is to protect. We have an Elf Fox Knight, so this is an elf, a white elf. You might not know that from looking at the picture, but Werefox Bodyguard is an elf. Reckless Stormseeker, it's a werewolf. Again, problem with not being a wolf, but +1/+0 and give haste is great to have down when Voja comes in. Rising of the Day is a pretty new card here from the Lord of the Rings set. Creatures you control have haste, and legendary creatures you control get +1/+0, which is nice because we have, again, some things that make double legendary creatures. Evo Sage, Proliferate, great once we got those +1/+1 counters singing here. Gwenna, Eyes of Gaia is going to ramp us. Howling Moon's going to buff our wolves and make wolves if opponents are casting lots of spells. Imperious Prefect, Elf Lord, Inspiring Call. This little bit of draw with the +1/+1 counter synergy. Refill our hand after we've gotten a big Voja attack. Land of War Visionary, ramp and draw here. Marwyn, ramp. Realm Walker, draw, plus his counts as both a wolf and an elf. Rex Sage, standard all-star. Need I say more? Rishkar, Rosethorn Acolyte. I'm going to have to pause. My voice is scratching. I'm going to drink. I'll be right back. Spring Bloom Druid is an elf that ramps and fixes. Cemetery Prowler, we can eat some graveyard. It's a wolf. Elvish Archdruid, it's ramp and Elf Lord. Selvala ramp. Circle of Dreams Druid, ramping elf. Immerwolf is a Wolf Lord. Rhythm of the Wild is going to help give our commander haste. Tovalar, Dire Overlord, has whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So you can start that wolf card draw early before you even have your commander down with Tovalar. Arwen, Mortal Queen. Hey, another Lord of the Rings card. She's an elf. She's going to enter. She's going to be indestructible, and you can move the indestructible from her to something else, which is nice for protecting a commander. Queen Olalal of Rudak is an elf noble who's going to get extra big. And as we're creating tokens, we're going to make some 1/1 soldiers, because why not? They can get +1/+1 counters on them, too. Not just the elves that get the +1/+1 counters from Rudak, Voja. Sorry. Sword of Body and Mind. It's a sword that makes makes wolves. So, what are you going to do? Rocco is interesting. Probably should put him a little further up the CMC chain, but it's a creature that's an elf, and it's also a tutor, right? We can grab our Roaming Throne, for example, to double the Voja triggers, which is just a absolute killer. Fleetfoot Dancer, you're Naya colors. You want to play a Naya elf? How about a 4/4 trample, lifelink haste, huh? Night Pack Ambusher. This card's classic. If you've not played with this card, try this card. 4/4 flash. It's going to buff the other wolves and werewolves, and then at the beginning of your end step, if you didn't cast a spell this turn, you create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. So as it sits out there, if it doesn't remove, it's just, I won't say pooping out wolves, but it's pooping out wolves. Beast Whisperer is an elf that's going to draw us a bajillion cards. They just add Defense of the Heart here on Arena in WoW. If you can afford the paper version in your paper deck, you might have one. I don't think it's that expensive, right? They've reprinted it recently. Anyways, at the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls 3 or more creatures, often the case, you sacrifice it, search your library for up to 2 creature cards, put those cards onto the battlefield, then shuffle. You could build around this card. You could have like Moonshaker Cavalry and Craterhoof Behemoth and just win the game off of this. But we're playing it fairly. We would just probably go get like, Tovalar's Huntmaster, which is a 6/6 that brings 2 wolves along with it, and like one of the Tolsamirs. We got a 3/3 Tolsimir. This card used to be so good. Whenever a wolf enters the battlefield under your control, gain 3 life, and that creature fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So you get a 3/3 and another 3/3 that can fight, and you gain some life. This was a house in limited, believe me, back in War of the Spark days. And this Tolsimir is the new one. It's a 3/2 lifelink, and it makes a 5/5 wolf. And whenever a wolf you control attacks, if Tolsimir attacked this combat, target creature an opponent controls blocks that wolf this combat if able. So a little more messing with combat. Just another Turn Timber Symbiosis. Replace it with a forest if you don't got it, but nice little +1/+1 synergy thing. And mana base, I don't think there's anything that exciting in here. We now have some fetch lands on Arena, so I'm throwing those in. But if you don't got them, you can build just a basic. You could probably just buy a Naya or take apart one of your Naya precon decks and use that mana base. Because it's pretty straightforward. You do want to run a decent amount of lands to hit your 5/5. Although you saw how many ramping elves we have, so I believe I'm only at 38 lands. Yes, 38 lands here instead of the baseline 40. But if you believe in subtracting a land, I'm not even running any mana rocks because we have so many elves that tap for mana. Every 3 elves that tap for mana, maybe remove a land is like the rule of thumb. We'll see. We're going to play it. So hit that subscribe, tickle that like button, spit out a comment, vomit a comment on for some interaction with the almighty YouTube algorithm, and let's see Voja, Jaws of the Conclave, in action. Stick around to the very end of the video to see the actual win rate of the deck, not just the games I was able to squeeze into the video. Put a little chapter at the end. We'll get some stats. Who are we up against? Samut, Voice of Dissent. Ooh. Even better Hasty Commander. You could probably run Samut in this build. Let's look at Samut. Samut is a 3/4 flash, double strike, vigilance, haste. As if it needed flash with haste. Other creatures you control have haste. And white tap, untap target creature. If I can read. Turn 1 Llanowar. Yeah, I almost don't want to even look at the rest of the thing. Defense of the Heart should actually be good against a Samut deck. We can't play Overrun Farmland untapped yet, so let's play Llanowar. Next turn Mountain, Dwynen's Elite. Bomat Courier. Playing stuff that already has haste. Ooh, Loam Speaker. I think I would rather Loam Speaker with some ramp on. That's a turn 3 Voja, if they don't do anything. They crack the Windswept Heath. They even have a tough time attacking the Bomat into the Loam Speaker. Into the north, the opponent is ramping. Foolish opponent. Ramping with spells instead of elves. There we go. Guess we would have needed the boots to really... Maybe it was correct to play Dwynen's Elite and the boots. Oh, opponent! Voja bringing fear into the heart of Samut. Up against Omnath, Locus of the Roil. Look at these howling pups. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Somebody used like the same reference image. How similar those are. Opponent is going first. I think we will keep Fearless Pup turn 1, Servant of the Conduit turn 2. Which Omnath is this, actually? Damage deals damage equal to the number of elementals you can... Okay. Elementals tribal Omnath. Into the one. Ooh, roaming throne should be good. Rex Sage, but we don't have a target for it yet. We could have played Roman Throne there. What we should have done. Nissa, Resurgent Animiste. Big Lotus Cobra. Going right at Itlamok. Did they whiff? Don't you get to put a card in hand? Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card. They must have whiffed. They whiffed on it. Ew. Yeah, we'll get some more energy. I think I'll just Voja here. I'll attack into Nissa because I don't think they block. Rex Sage can kill the growing rights. You could get 4 more creatures down. Mana, made Zendikar. I make some more mana. Reveal an elf or elemental. They reveal Ancient Green Warden, which lets them play lands from the graveyard. Cool commander card. Oh, here's Omnath. Omnath can shoot the pup. Oh. Omnath, you are enemy number 1. What you did to that pup. My question is, I don't think I want a Stormseeker yet here. Well, Roaming Throne gives us double triggers. We can double Rex Sage. You get doubly wrecked. We'll do Pack Song and Rex Age, I think. Just build the board bigger. Yeah, come. All attack. I guess they can double block an Evo Sage if they wanted. They don't. And then play land. Proliferate everything. Nicey nice. They're at 2. We got the landfall triggers now. Yeah, that's what I thought. Omnath, Locus of Roil. Wow, the game really slows down right when it goes to the victory screen. Up against Obzedat, Ghost Council. Isn't that an old one? It's just a new one. Yeah, this is the old one. 5/5 enters the battlefield. Target opponent loses 2 life. You gain 2 life. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile it. If you do, return to the battlefield. Beginning of your next upkeep, it gains haste. So you can just keep blinking it. Okay. We have 2 mana. We have a lot of stuff to do with 2 mana, but we'd have to get another green to start ramping. I'm going to mulligan that. This is better. Loam Speaker into Circle of Dreams. Or we could do the Werewolf plan, Kissing Naturalist into Tovalar. Might get some of the removal out of their hand. Circle of Dreams can really lose you some tempo. So easy to kill. Daxos. Okay. That's less scary. Voice of the Blessed. Oh, it's a life gain deck. It's a life gain deck. And they're going to kill Llanowar Loam Speaker now? Oh, okay, good. They didn't kill it. Maybe they're saving it for Circle of Dreams Druid. Yep. They were. Back for 3. Swords to Plowshares! Oh no. Alright, I guess we are on the Kessing Naturalist plan here. Good. Llanowar Elves, but we're... Huh. I'm not gonna do that tapped. We might need our life total here. A very optimistic Reliquary Tower. You gotta draw a lot of cards before it's that useful. No blocks. Down to 12. And Tavalar, I mean, we can get Voja down. Just play Turn Timber as a... Maybe we just play the Reliquary Tower. Can we survive? We're at 10. The 7/7 flyer. Yeah, we have to trade Voja for Obzedat. Not a big fan of that. Vicious Farmhand. That now flies for 8. I think we might just be dead. Obzedat! Oh, okay. No, but then they blink this. Well, I guess we're dead when it comes back. But we get an attack with Voja. So let's do the biggest Voja attack that we can. Draw all the cards. Add a green. Oh, this even has vigilance, so they can just block. Alright. Well... Obzedat, who knew? Pretty good. Okay, so 44% win rate, not great, but we did have some... We did just kept running into decks that have board wipes, that lucked into board wipes, and some of our wins were also to decks that just scooped, either when they saw us ramping or when Voja comes out. So I don't even know how many games I'm going to be able to include on this. Anyways, deck performed pretty well. It is a bit of a glass cannon, as we learned, with relying on the creatures to ramp us. If they get wiped, the ramp runs out, and then we maybe even can't even play Voja, which is kind of a feel bad in Brawl. In Commander is a board wipe. Everybody else is set back. Probably everybody is set back. You have a little more time. You have a little more life padding. So maybe it works a little bit better in this kind of build in Commander. I based it on some EDH rec stats. I was referencing that when I built this deck. So it has a lot of the recommended cards from EDH rec in it already. So it's maybe already just veers a little bit more toward a 4-player deck. In terms of what you could lose here, I mean, Guardian Gladewalker is kind of fun with the +1 counter synergies. You could lean into that more with some of these things. Probably don't need Werewolf Pack Leader, Wildborn Preserver, even Kessing Naturalist, although it's kind of fun. It goes off with Tovalar and stuff. All the werewolf stuff. Werefox is fine, though, because that's an elf. And some of these elf lords that are a little more expensive, maybe you could lose if you're not, especially if you're not going as hard on elf synergies as we were. Queen All in All is maybe a little low powered. Sword of Body Mind is very slow. If you're doing for Brawl, you would probably want to tune this and have way more removal if you're doing specifically for Brawl. And as I said, the Tolsamirs, we never got to play those, but they do compete at 5 mana, the same mana cost as our commander. And I think my instinct, having played this a bunch on my phone and then now on recording this video, is that more of the cheap creatures, maybe even more cheap wolves, just to get on the board and have stuff so that first turn where you attack with Voja is pretty good. All right, so that's the deck. Thanks for joining me in the attic. Check out some of these other cool videos that I'm going to link to the side. This is Man and Dad reminding you that Magic is a game so fun, even dads can enjoy it. Adios.